It's Z here from Super Smoke Bros. In this episode, we are proud to welcome Pitmaster, Netflix Season 1 of Barbecue Showdown winner, Miss Tina Cannon. Her website, www.tinacanoncooks.com, has tons of great things. And plus, she just launched her first line of signature rubs as well. So check those out. And this is one of the most genuine people I've ever met, down to earth, and a great interview. It's a long one, but it is a great one. So check out the interview, and we welcome Miss Tina Cannon. Here we go. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to Super Smoke Bros. We have a very, very special guest here today. I'm going to read off this phenomenal lady's bio, and then we'll give her a warm welcome. And we're just so very, very lucky to have her. Our guest today, she's a teacher of flavor and food, winner of the 2018 World Fire and Ice Challenge, as well as reserve grand champion in barbecue, winner of Netflix's Barbecue Showdown, has escalated over $75,000 in winnings over 200 categories. She's a TV barbecue competitor on the Travel Channel, Netflix, Destination America, and local networks. She's a social media influencer on YouTube channel, Instagram, and her website, tinacanoncooks.com. She's an avid volunteer at the local culinary schools. And I think the most impressive thing, besides answering my email, Miss Tina, is that she has single-handedly served over 43,000 meals for the organization Meals for Wheels. Her motto is, "You have to give back to your community, and there is no better way for me than to feed people in need." Super Smoke Bros humbly welcomes this fabulous and phenomenal guest, chef, pitmaster, teacher, role model, inspiration to all, the Pearl Girl, Miss Tina Cannon. Welcome, Miss Tina. We appreciate you here. Thank you. Yay. So, first of all, this is kind of off script, so the other guys don't know this, but you read. I'll start with the first maybe question or two. You read your bio, and if you're an avid, barbecue smoker, amateur like me, the question is, and you already answered this before we started, I mean, are you single?
No. Married.
No, I had to ask that. I knew that researching and watching you on your various things on television and things like that. So, but
I don't mention him much, though.
No, you don't. And I came across it and I was wondering, I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, and I was doing some research. I'm like, oh yeah, okay, that makes sense. I get it. It didn't last long out there. So, you have the story, and I've been fortunate. I'm going to be honest with you, I was a little bit nerdy here. I was watching the Netflix Barbecue Showdown again, and I'm taking notes. Every episode, I'm writing notes on what you're saying and things like that, because it, just feels so honored to have you here. But
now you can just email me or ask me.
I know.
I answer all my own stuff, so you can just, call me or,
Yeah, I know. I'm like, this is kind of surreal for me right now. So, So can you just share your barbecue journey for this world? We all have our story. Would you mind sharing a little bit of yours?
No, I don't mind at all. It's it probably started when I was like in Girl Scouts. Is probably if you go way back.
Yeah.
If you not just start when I started competing, but if you go all the way back, my birthday gift when I was 10, I asked for a grill, which back then, because I'm double digits for probably y'all, but how old I am to y'all. That was really unusual. But my dad bought me one. He bought me a Weber kettle grill.
Yeah.
And the first thing I ever grilled was a hot dog. So Oscar Mayer hot dog. And I like them really charred. So I nailed that one. But when I was in Girl Scouts, we had different, it's different now, but they really separated what the girls did and what the guys did. It was just the way
really?
It was.
Yeah.
And I offered to go and help clean up or whatever if I could go over to the Boy Scout section, and because they were cooking on fire.
Oh.
We were not able to do that. We were sewing and stuff like that. And I still can't sew a button on. I have to get my mom to do it. But so I just had a lot of interest in it, and I love the flavor of it. So really, if you go all the way back, it was probably younger than that, but the first memory I have of actually getting to cook on live fire was a hot dog in a Weber kettle on my 10th birthday. And I actually have a picture, but it's an old Polaroid, so it's kind of faded.
Yeah.
And when I did the Netflix show, they wanted a bunch of pictures, but I guess they couldn't get it to, be clear enough because it's real hazy. Because, kind of old. So things don't last that long. So that kind of started it, and then I've always liked to grill, which is a little different than smoking. But, my grandfather, my family's originally from Alabama. Low and slow cooking pork is kind of a thing. And my grandfather raised 5 children alone, 4 of them girls. So he never discouraged the girls from doing the same thing as the boys, which in my era was how things happened. But so I guess I never thought that I couldn't. And then I went professionally into cooking. I went to culinary school just on my 18th birthday. Went to Europe and went to culinary school and trained as a chef there. So I always had interest, but of course in culinary school, they don't teach you grilling, and that not in France anyway. So I just always just liked to do it. And luckily I had befriended a lot of Americans when I lived there, and they all had grills. So I'd go over, and cook for them, stuff like that. So it just kind of developed, and then it turned into competition. I cannot remember what year. I think it was 2008 or 9 is when Barbecue Pitmasters was on.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And I saw, Byron Mixon and all them. And I was like, and he lives in Georgia.
Yeah.
I can do that. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I know y'all wanted to ask me about struggles and things in competitions, but my very first contest, I won. I know that's nuts. Now, true, I didn't win anything else again for a couple of years, but you get the bug at that point, because I've always been pretty competitive. I played ball through school and all of that. So I'm competitive, even with myself, always trying to do better, always trying to cook faster at Meals on Wheels and make more food. Mm-hmm. I'm just a competitive person by nature. Mm-hmm. And so I just kind of developed into competitive cooking from watching Pitmasters, the show, mm-hmm. which is, I think it was 2008 when it first started coming on. So that's kind of nuts anyway.
It was. I think we all watched it. That's like kind of how my journey started. It was watching shows like Pitmasters, and you just you get the bug in when you make something really, really good. It's like golf when you get a good shot in golf, it keeps you coming back, and just the same thing. It just kept on me coming back. So I love that we all can relate to the Weber kettle grill. That's so cool. So cool.
And competition barbecue is kind of cool because when I remember one particular contest where the people on one side of me owned a funeral home, the people behind me owned a garbage company, the people beside me in front of me were doctors, and the other person beside me owned an insurance company.
Oh wow!
So it was like all kinds of people, all, trying to compete. It wasn't like, it was just really I loved that concept of just everybody is in this.
Yeah.
And what's fun is I think I was top 3 in every category in that contest.
Wow.
It was kind of weird, but I loved being around these all kinds of different people. And then I was the only girl, but
that's awesome. That's awesome. That's why you're an inspiration. That's awesome. Andy or Colin, do you have a question you want to roll with?
Sure, I can jump in on question 2 here, Tina. You kind of introduced a little bit on your reality BBQ competition a little bit there, but I guess I just finished watching the first season, and I watched it till 3 a.m. last night. So it's very raw and fresh. But and I love the whole hog and the cinder blocks. Amazing. That's I got space in the backyard ready to go.
Yeah, I got my hog pits right there. I could throw a nickel on it if I wanted to. But a lot of people didn't believe I built that pit. I did build it, but it's the first time I built one on my own because I'm just barely maybe 5'2", and they're heavy blocks. It's a lot of work. So I had never built one by myself. I have cooked on them, the show made it sound like I had never done it before. True, I had never built a pit on my own before, but I have cooked on them before. So that's TV, you know.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things like that behind the scenes that they kind of left out, you know, that made you look a little more novice than you were. And then I think that upset some of the cast because they didn't know, you know what I mean? So, yeah.
So what's one thing that maybe viewers didn't see that you didn't expect? You know, as someone who just watched that first season, what's something that we just wouldn't see that's going on in the background?
All right. When I'm sitting in the chair in an interview and you see like smoke behind me and stuff, the smoke is fake. It's like, you know, one of those that you put out at Halloween.
Yeah.
And we had to evacuate the building during that interview because there was like one of the biggest snakes I'd ever seen, just like 5 feet from me. And the camera picked it up. I didn't even know it because I probably went like this, you know, and there's hundreds of people on set. People don't realize that, you know, they think it's just this talking, you know, no, there's hundreds of people. So we all had to leave. They have to bring in an animal rights wrangler, like animal wrangler, to catch it safely and not kill it and then go and rehome it.
Wow.
Yeah, you would have known that, but when you see me
snakes.
sitting there
Those are
talking,
milk ropes.
huge snake, a huge snake. I'm like,
Awesome.
there was a lot of things though like that were not on camera, and I've actually been on 5 different shows, and every one of them there is something that y'all don't see, you know, or they don't want you to see.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Colin, do you have you're up next, man.
Actually, I'm gonna go a little off script because the thing when watching those shows, the thing that stood out to me the most was, I know you guys are all competitive, but it all seemed like you were so supportive of each other at the same time, and like helping each other out, finding different cuts of meats or helping build pits or stuff like that. Can you just talk a little bit more about the like environment and kind of the vibe between the different competitors, and if maybe you still keep in touch with any of them or anything like that?
Yeah. You know, I still have in contact with most of them. I actually just saw Rashid and spoke to him for the first time. Like, I guess maybe it might be a month ago now. I was in Dallas with Big Green Egg doing a convention, and he was there too. And I went over and spoke to him. So I have not stayed in contact with him. I'm not sure why he didn't want, I don't know. It wasn't me because I talked to everybody. But I knew Sylvie beforehand because we've competed against each other in the past. I knew James Grubbs beforehand because he was my, I don't know, like they have an alternate. I did a show on Travel Channel in 2014 and he was my alternate. So they have somebody to stand in case you freak out or you're not good on camera or you get sick and whatever. So he and I had met on that set, and what you see is what you get with him. He's exactly like that. Not an actor. He is really like nuts like that. Georgia, I saw her and Ashley not too long ago at a charity event with Melissa Cookston. So all of us, other than Rashid, had stayed in touch.
Nice, awesome.
And like I said, I'm not sure why. I think he was a fantastic cook. Everything he cooked was fantastic. That's why I think I about fell out and he caught me when I won. You know, he did stay kind of in the one lane, whereas I tried to do, you know, Asian food, Hispanic, you know, like lots of different styles. I think that's probably why I fared so good, is because I just threw some of my training out there of all the types of stuff I know how to cook. But he was not told that I was a professional chef. Nobody on the set, you know, the cast was. So I think that threw a wrench in it for some people, and understandably so. You know, I didn't know their background. They didn't know mine. And I don't remember which episode that it was in when they finally told everybody, and they were like, there were some choice words, I think, under their breath a little bit. But barbecue doesn't lend to formal training. You know, all that French stuff does not apply to barbecue. doesn't work.
Miss Tina, I remember that watching that first one. I watched it with my daughters. And I wrote this about you in the email. They have become like avid fans, and I remember that there's a couple things that first episode we're watching, and like first of all, my one daughter, Porkzilla you have on the show, well, we have Bacon Bell here. I'm trying to put in the camera here. So we have our own too that we barbecue with. So she thought that was like the coolest thing, and you also told the story about your pearls too as well. I tried to get my wife to let me wear hers, but she said no. So rightfully so, I probably broke them. But could you that first episode with, Porkzilla and the pearls and things like that. But there was a time in that episode where I think all amateur barbecuers like had this where all of a sudden your heat was dropping. And you're like, oh, and that. So is there any like words of advice that you could give like the amateur if that happens in real life, you're all of a sudden something like that, your heat starts dropping. Now we don't have the time limit like you had and things like that, but I know that, I struggle with that too as well. And I've lost meat because of it. I'm
trying to think what smoker was I cooking on when that happened?
I think it was an offset.
Oh, okay. On the Lang. All right. Cause I was thinking, so, I'm not sure really for sure why that happened, but I also had an episode where my oven had been turned off.
Mm-hmm.
So I really think that the producers do that for interest. I really do, because why would I turn my oven off? Every day we filmed for 21 days, your oven was already warmed up to like 250 or 300, something like that. So at least it was kind of ready to go for preheating. So I think that something was done on purpose, because on the back, one of my valve, that you open for air was closed. And I know not to close, you know what I mean? But it did make me panic. So after that point, because I think that's when I had to cook a brisket, right? All right.
Yeah,
I mean, I never cooked hot and fast. I still prefer 235 for 16 hours. That's just kind of how I like it. But we only had, I think, 5.5 hours to get a brisket done. And that, I didn't cut it down because at the time I didn't know for sure, because sometimes that stuff's filmed not in the sequence you see it. Not sure of how much time I actually had. So I seasoned it and got it ready and put it in. And then they said, you have 5.5 hours. So I was worried about the heat. I had to crank it. I think I ended up cooking it at like 400 degrees. And on that grill, I still have scars. You probably can't see from the camera on my arm.
Wow, yeah, I see it.
Because
yeah,
I'm so short, I couldn't lift and grab the lid. It would burn me.
Wow.
So they did green screen and put green tape over it, my injury, so they could make it flesh cover, because it was bad. I mean, the medic had to come in, the whole thing.
Wow.
Yeah. It was pretty bad. So there's a lot of stuff I could go on and on, stuff y'all didn't see, but that was probably the biggest challenge, and that as far as the time on that, even though the hog was hard, I swear I didn't have chicken wire, and I didn't know Ashley was going to leave. They didn't tell us that because I thought 2 people to turn it, right?
Yep.
Well, he left. Well, I have a pit that's 6 feet across, and I'm barely just over 5 feet. You have to like hike up on that pit to try to turn it. And then I had a single big giant stain. The top was really heavy. And I don't remember in the show if they showed it or not, me just having to throw it off because I couldn't lift it. So this pit that I have right here has a split lid.
Nice.
For that reason, for that very reason, so I can handle it myself. It's a foot narrower, so I can get in there if I need to. So I've adapted. I learned a lot on that show for that, about building a pit, and I actually did a video. I should re-release that so people could see. I filmed myself building this pit.
That's awesome.
So people wouldn't say, they get snarky online. Everybody, keyboard warriors, right? That I didn't really build it. So I'm like, I'll show you. And then I sat on it afterwards, popped the beer and drank it. So.
That's awesome. Andy, do you have another one? the other
I
question?
know I went totally off script. You know,
No, that's great. I love it.
we stretch
Oh, we love
everything
it.
out, chitter chat a lot.
No, we love it. It's so awesome.
Speaking of that, I'm Tina. I'm gonna go off script here. I'm gonna talk about
Okay.
my lovely wife. I got a little predicament. I am the only meat eater in the household. My wife is vegetarian, so I've really been struggling with making something like a pork butt, brisket. I got to have a lot of mouths to feed to make that happen. So, what have been some of your successes in the vegetarian world, if that has ever happened? And got any ideas for me?
It does actually. I have a lot of friends, believe it or not. A real good friend of mine in Florida is a vegetarian, and she's on the Big Green Egg team, and she can cook meat, but she won't eat it. But she came up here and we filmed some stuff on our eggs of just cooking vegetarian food. So we did like goat cheese and tomato galettes, which is like a pastry kind of thing.
Okay.
We did some white beans with all kinds of like peppers and onions. I mean, I just take, vegetarians get tired of portobello mushrooms. They really do. People think meat replaces meat. They think like meat eaters, right? The texture. Yeah. So you have to kind of just go outside of the box. I've cooked. I don't know what kind of vegetarian she is, if she eats cheese or eggs or anything like that. I just basically take regular recipes and adapt them and cook them on the grill because I got a pretty nice place here. I like to be outside. If you need some recipes for her, email me. I'll send you some.
I love that.
And let me know what kind of vegetarian she is. Some people don't eat they're vegan. They don't eat any animal products. And I'm quite the opposite. If it has eyes, I'm going to cook it and eat it. I mean,
thank you.
I don't love the taste of lamb, but I'll eat it. If I came to your house and you fixed me lamb, I'm going to eat it because that's what my mama said you need to do. But I have several. I mean, I do a lot of like stuffed peppers. There's one she might like. I stuff peppers with, you can do the sweet red peppers. I even did some little ones with like garlic mashed potatoes.
Ooh.
Yeah. And then just cook them in a pan and then put some cheese on. That's really a good dish. And it's very hearty. You could have it as a side and then it's hearty enough to be an entree for her. But I have a bunch of them actually. Tons of them.
That's awesome.
Desserts too.
All right. That's awesome. That's really good because we have some colleagues that are vegetarians and we cook for our faculty and things like that. So you said they get sick of portobello. I'm like, last time I did like a portobello tofu burn ends and stuff, and they really loved them. Maybe they're lying to me, but so that's good to know.
But they do. People, that's the first thing people think is when they come over, okay, we're having steak, so I'll cook you a portobello, you know what I mean? Because we relate it to our palate and our texture thing. You gotta go outside of that one. And I don't like temp and all that stuff, the flavor of it, but I can cook it. You put enough seasoning in it, honey.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Put some cheese on it.
Yeah. Colin, do you want to take the next one?
Yeah. All right. So in the beginning, Z went through all your accomplishments and all that, and then you kind of talked about your first competition. So I have not done a competition, or I don't think any of us have. And, so what advice would you have to someone that wants to get into competition, and what do you think they should know before that first one?
I would take a class. I know that sounds, I know that sounds weird, but if you have or a local barbecue person that does compete, that's willing to let you go with them to watch, because it's in what you like. This is the biggest one. It's not what you like. It's what the judges like, which is night and day. Because honestly, I don't care for competition, the flavor profile of competition barbecue. I don't. I mean, it's really different. There's a lot of injections that have phosphates and things like that in it, which has, a definite texture. Brisket is very, what I would call pot roasty. More of that kind of flavor. Some areas it's sweet. People brush sauce on it. I like garlic, salt, pepper, or a smoked salt, because I make my own smoked salt on a brisket. Put that baby on. That's leave it alone. 235, 250 at the most, depending on how big it is. And 16 hours later, I'm happy.
So Miss Tina, on this, and this kind of directly, we all have all three of us have daughters, and one of the things that I've told you about, and it was like my inspiration to reach out to you, because I was nervous. I'm not going to lie to you, to reach out to, like, I see you and I just see the great things you do, and I'm just like, but I live like the motto, no risk it, no biscuit. So I'm going to give it a shot out, and I did. It was so great, but you know, and this is, we have a lot of fans that are young ladies and that watched it and start dabbling with barbecue. So did you ever imagine that your barbecue journey when you started off with asking at 10 years old for that Weber grill would lead to inspiring so many young ladies to, hey, maybe I can start my own barbecue journey now. I can do this too as well. And I know that, you're very humble, you're very gracious, and you made and sometimes you don't realize that the impact you have on all these young fans. So could you share any insight about that, and how it feels to be such an inspiration to young ladies out there?
I never really I didn't really feel that I was an inspiration. I felt that I was more, because I've been in the culinary field since I was 17 and I'm 60 now. So I've always cooked in kitchens with not men. Not women. It was always men. So I've always been around cooking with men, and I really didn't really think about it until when I started doing pretty well in it and winning, and people wouldn't talk to me. And I thought, well, I didn't understand that, because when you work in a professional kitchen, there's a lot of, you have to talk to each other. Yes, chef, when things are done, what orders up. There's a lot of communication that goes on in a professional kitchen behind the scenes that people don't see. If you watch, Gordon Ramsay or something, you see how they're constantly talking to each other, right? To get everything done. So it was really odd to me when I first started. And then I did the Travel Channel show in 2014. And after that, a young lady came up to me at a contest that her dad competes, and she gave me a shell because she collected shells, and she wanted to thank me, like for letting her see that she could do this with her daddy. And you're not going to believe this. I still have the shell in my bathroom. I use it as a scoop. I know this is a girl thing. Okay. Yes. As for my bath salts. And I had won that particular contest. And I thought that was so sweet of her to come to me. And that's the first time I realized that I even influenced a young lady, or, and she was, I would say maybe 8, 9 years old. And then she started competing with her dad, helping him with the boxes. And I would see them periodically at contests, and it was really good to see her turning in the boxes for her dad and helping her do that. So I didn't even really realize that I had did anything, because I'd always worked with men in kitchens until that moment. And I thought, how sweet. And she was the sweetest little blonde, curly-headed little girl. So, and now I get emails like daily, either emails or messages, and even from young people as well as women my age, that it's so hard for me to even accept it. I know that sounds weird. I'm always so flattered. I don't care, like if your daughter wrote me or something, I would be so flattered that they would ask me a question or even ask me a recipe. I think when I really realized it is when the guys wanted to come to my barbecue school.
That's awesome.
Like, hey, I'm doing something right here, right? So it was, and then they said, well, I want to bring my wife, or I want to bring my daughter, so it's just that one particular moment that I think I crossed the line and realized that I was setting a good example. So that's why I try to have good sportsmanship, when I am at a contest or an event, because you want to show that to the young people that, there are winners and losers. Not everybody gets a trophy, at least in my mind. Yeah. And that is part of learning life. A barbecue contest, yes, you want to compete in barbecue, but you learn a lot at it, because There's winners, there's losers. You learn from the other people, the way they cook, their style. A lot of people bring their whole family, so it's a family affair. It always disappoints me when there's like a spouse, male or female, that are not supportive, because it's a really cool hobby. It's a family hobby.
Yeah.
Now, I don't have any kids, but I feel like everybody else that has them, when they come and hang out at my rig, I'm like, I feel good about that,
Yeah.
you know? And we do family dinner, like at a lot of contests. They will have a dinner, like at someone's cook site on Friday night. So if you get to go, and you take your kids with you, whoever has, well, y'all has 3, right? So take them with you, because
Yeah.
when they're involved in that, they're learning so much more than just cooking. You know, you have
Yeah.
to cook, right? You got to eat.
Mhm. Oh,
But they're learning the camaraderie of it. They're learning, you know, that you have to apply yourself in different ways. I mean, there's a lot of lessons learned in a barbecue contest. And when I teach, I try to include all of those other lessons if it's young people.
that's awesome. That's awesome. That was a great answer. Wow. Got me a little, I got a few
It's
little
kind of
goosebumps.
long.
That's okay.
No,
I
I
love
wouldn't
it.
edit it.
I'm a long talker too. So ask my students. But it gave me goosebumps. Wow, that was phenomenal. Andrew, another question?
Yeah, I don't know what time we got left. I mean, should we roll to the sizzle round here?
Or we
We
got as
can.
much
I
time as
mean,
we
y'all,
need.
I've got all night. It's just y'all the ones that got family
No,
responsibilities.
no,
I'm watching my dog wander around, and I'm just hanging out here on my back porch. So.
we have unlimited time, so it's up to you. Maybe go a couple more questions and we can do the sizzle round. Does that sound good?
Sounds good.
Okay.
All right. So all the backyard barbecuers, which is myself included, would love to know your favorite thing to prepare when you are not competing, or do you not like barbecue when you are not competing and like to prepare a different dish, not created by barbecue?
My newest favorite thing, probably in the last 6 months, is a barbecue dish, and it's what they're calling on. They call them party wings. Have you seen any videos on that? I did one a few weeks ago, and that recipe is awesome. I was in Miami last week, and we actually filmed that for Fogo. We did the same pretty much recipe, but they wanted to learn how to make them, Fogo charcoal. So I love that char. Now, they're not the fall off the bone restaurant style ribs, but I do love cooking those. Like if I had some tomorrow, I would cook some.
I'm gonna get that.
But I
I'm gonna find
cook
that
all
recipe.
kinds of food though. You know, I cook French food, I cook Vietnamese food, Korean food, German food. I mean, I cook all kinds of stuff. I'm not kind of in a niche, but if I was gonna, when the weather's good like this, I'll come out and make a smash burger or party ribs.
Yeah.
Y'all should look that rib recipe up.
I'm going to.
I've seen some TikToks with party ribs, and
yeah.
really
Mine are better.
I'm sure they are.
I'm just teasing. I'm just teasing y'all, but they are really good. And with the way y'all are at school, the recipe, you could actually get it in the bag with the seasoning and stuff, and come back home and grill them all. But you're not going to get fall off the bone. They have more of a pork chop type texture.
Okay.
Which I love.
Yeah. Colin.
All right. And then we've talked a lot about your television or Netflix appearances and stuff. And maybe you're not able to share this with us, but do you have anything coming up in the near future that we should look out for?
Well, I did film a pilot in Miami that has something to do with food trucks. But what a pilot is, I mean, for people that don't know, you film it and then you I'm not trying to sell it, but the production company tries to sell it to different networks. I know Netflix looked at it or is looking at it, but I don't know because they currently don't have a show about food trucks. But it was more of a cultural. I loved it because we went to some culturally diverse kind of food trucks, not the typical stuff that you see. And we went to one of the first food trucks that ever started in Miami, 20 some odd years ago. So that was kind of cool to do. So I'll announce it when it comes out, but I don't, if it gets picked up, but we will see. And if it does get picked up, I'll get a few more episodes on that. One here in Atlanta and who knows what city. I hope it's New York, but because I think they got great food trucks. or California somewhere. And then finally, I have barbecue seasoning coming out.
Oh,
Nice.
Yeah. So
Nice.
I have been waiting and trying to get it set. You know, people thought I would do barbecue seasoning first, right? I didn't. I did what's called my European blend seasoning.
Yep, I saw that.
So I have a smoked salt, which is a recipe of mine where it's double smoked with 2 types of wood at different times, not at the same time. The flavor is different when you smoke it with one and then smoke it with the other. But it's a SPG, but it's double smoked salt is the base. And then I have a chicken. It's going to be called What the Cluck.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, and I got the flying pig is the pork one, and then as far as the brisket one, I don't know if that's going to be ready by mid-May because it's National Barbecue Month. May is,
Yep.
but that's going to be where's the beef? Here's the beef. Oops, excuse me. Where's the beef is trademark. But so I've got three new seasonings coming out. So I'll do a pre-sale on my website as soon as they give me the okay. I'll do and I'll let you know. I'll email you so you know.
Oh, yeah.
And you know that on my original 3 seasonings I have, the brine, the European blend, and the hot sauce, 100% of the proceeds goes to Meals on Wheels.
That's awesome.
100%. But on my
awesome.
barbecue rubs, I think I need to keep some of that because I got stuff to pay for.
Oh yeah, you deserve it. So for sure. Oh yeah, I did. I've been. I have in my card on your website. I have I have a T-shirt and I have the European blend and this and then so we're gonna be getting after that.
Really like the European blend. I actually used that on a couple dishes on Netflix, but of course, you know they can't use my name on but I used it on the beef ribs. I think I used it on one of the seafood dishes, some potatoes. I used it on a lot of things.
Awesome.
So yeah, I think you're gonna like it.
Oh, I can't wait.
You better write me and let me know and tell me.
I will. I'm gonna put.
I love when people send me pictures of when they use my stuff. It really flatters me, that they like it as much as I do.
So, Miss Tina, you may be opening up a can of worms for yourself because I'm going to probably be sending you a lot of stuff every time I use something of yours. So.
No, I really, honestly, I mean, sometimes I get 100 emails a day, questions. That's why if you ask me a question and you see like, why is she answering me at 3:30 in the morning? I'm kind of a night owl anyway, but I figure somebody wants to know and they take the time to find me and ask me a question about a recipe or opinion on how to make something. By gosh, I'm going to write you back. I don't like when people start doing influencing or they do this and that and they think they're too, uppity or whatever. I'm not like that. My mama didn't raise me that way. So.
I can definitely tell. And I think that's what's pretty cool about the barbecue world, whether a professional, pit master like yourself or just amateur teachers that love to do it is that everyone is open and will talk to you. And it's like you were talking about at the competitions, it's, that kind of that family aspect where you help each other out. There's a lot of great.
It's going to be great that, if you take your kids with you too.
I have a
Give
feeling
them a role. Give them a role of something to do so they grow up being part of it.
Yeah. And
it makes you grow. I think, I don't have kids, but it seems like it really would make you grow as a family too, that you're doing something. This is you're trying to turn in the box or this is going to be your job, and make it exciting for them.
Yeah.
That's what my grandfather, my dad did with me and my mom. When I started cooking when I was really young, when I could stand on one of those step stools, that I was involved in. And I think that's why I really like to cook to this day because I was involved in it. It wasn't like a chore. It was like, let's make biscuits, or whatever, which is my highest rated video. Every time I make biscuits, people are like,
it's tough whenever we're traveling down south, there's just the biscuits are different. It's incredible. Like we stop and I get biscuits with everything I have, and it's different, there. So I can see why for sure.
Are you ever in the Atlanta area?
Yes, I actually just drove through Atlanta about a month ago with my family, and so we'll be doing it next year too. We drive down to Florida for spring break, and so I'm going to have to. stop in and see if we can hook up at that time and just
You
introduce my
have to
family and stuff.
detour, yeah.
Yeah,
Kids will
for
like my pool. They'll
Oh,
like.
yeah, they will.
I
Yeah.
just last month I had a fan that's followed me for years now from Canada,
Oh, wow.
and they were coming. They come and travel the U.S. and then they drive back.
Yeah.
I think it's April 15th or something. They go back home. Yeah, and they actually stayed in. We cooked. I made them. I think I made ribs for them and
Oh, nice.
cobbler pie, and we made biscuits. We made a bunch of stuff.
Oh,
So I
good.
love for people to come.
Oh yeah, well, and I was just thinking that it'd be pretty cool for the three of us to show up at your cooking school one day and be part of that. That'd be a lot of fun.
Just come and we'll cook some.
Okay, we will. Okay, I'm gonna hold you to that now.
Careful what you wish for.
He's got my phone number now.
Yeah, I do. I'm like sitting there at my phone. I'm like, I still can't believe I have it. So it's crazy. So we like to end here, with what we call like a lightning round, or what we're gonna call a sizzle round. And just like the first thing that pops in your head, we'll just give you a question, and the first thing that just comes
I'm not going to
head.
read it. I know you sent it, but I don't want to read it.
All right. So yeah.
I want to be
All right. So guys, you want me to start, or someone else want to start?
You started, Z.
Okay, and we can just kind of alternate every question. Okay. And if something else pops up in your mind, you get before, just throw it in there. So all right.
Shorter.
Miss Tina, sizzle round. The first thing, and I think I know this, but just from the interview, but your favorite cut of meat to barbecue.
You're probably going to say it's brisket, but it's actually pork butts or ribs.
I was going to say ribs.
Let's just say pork.
Yeah.
Pork. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Miss Tina, what about your favorite rub?
Mine.
Good answer.
Good answer.
Good answer.
Favorite side to prepare?
On the grill?
Anything, whatever.
Macaroni and cheese on my big green egg.
Nice. Oh, I love mac and cheese. So I think I have this one too. It's your preferred smoke or a grill that it's your go-to always. This is what I'm going to use.
My big green egg, 100%. I got two, so
that's awesome.
I got a really big one, and then I have a mini max. Nice. I cooked lunch on the mini max today, so awesome. Yeah. And yesterday. And probably tomorrow.
In terms of wood to smoke with, what's your preferred wood to smoke with?
If it's competition, I use pecan, heavy laden with pecan, and then I'll finish with hickory. So when they open the box, the aroma is of hickory, but not the dark color of hickory. And if I'm home, I really like the bourbon barrel chunks.
Yeah, I saw that on your Instagram.
Yeah, I love those. I love those. Yeah.
All right.
They're out of Kentucky.
Okay.
Favorite pitmaster that you have worked with in the past?
Melissa Cookston.
Awesome.
Nice.
Awesome. Our last one, Miss Tina, and then we'll kind of end here, and you have with a little segment, and then we're just so honored to have you. Our last one for the sizzle. You don't have to answer, but of the three Super Smoke Bros right in front of your screen,
oh Lord,
who's better looking?
Oh, there we go. What's he doing?
No, just
I would have. Well, I can't decide because I judge everybody by how good they cook.
Yeah, great answer. Oh,
yeah. So y'all would all have to fix me something, and that because they would have to be that, and I'd have to look at your shoes. So
yeah. Oh yes, I'm a sneakerhead. So, oh no, just a little fun way to end a little bit. Miss Tina,
I'm in the South. I'm barefoot. So.
Oh, that's awesome. I liked in the summertime. That's where barefoot all the time. So you can't go wrong. Miss Tina, is there anything else you'd like to share with all your fans out there, or anything? You've went above and beyond for just three normal guys that teachers and just this love the art that you have perfected in barbecue. Is there anything that you else like to share, or any other stories that you want to make sure you get out there?
We could talk on this porch for hours, but I really want to interact with people. If you need help with something, recipe, some ideas, questions about meat cuts or other things, because I cook everything. Really don't look, just like you. Don't hesitate to contact me. Don't.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I check them while I'm out of town. Like I'll be at Memphis in May. Are y'all familiar with that?
Yes, I am.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I'll be at Memphis in May. Luckily, I'm one of the featured pit masters with Big Green Egg. I'll be cooking a whole hog and doing a demo there for a whole hog. So if you have questions about that, I mean, I would really, really like people to feel comfortable asking me these questions, because it really means a lot to me that people are comfortable with asking those questions. And probably the other thing is, no matter what, try to do something good for somebody else. Pays back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It does. It does. That's why, like, when I saw how many Meals on Wheels that you have personally done, and your motto is just like, man, I can't believe how
That's
lucky
in
we
1
are.
year.
1
That's
year?
not lifetime. Yeah. Actually, this year it was over 60,000 this past year.
It's just amazing.
You
I think
you got the stats from a couple of years.
yeah, I must have. I was looking. I was following that dive into internet, trying to find as much without being like feeling like a creeper crawler or anything like that.
That's
So
okay.
I'm just trying to want to make sure I do you justice.
We've all done it. We've all.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, Miss Tina, you're a joy. You're fabulous.
Well, thank
You're a
y'all
role
for
model.
having me.
Oh,
thank you.
And you're not
so much.
You're gonna hear from me again. So
well, good. Be sure to
and
tell all y'all's girls, or if you also have boys, y'all didn't mention them, that I said hello.
I will.
Yeah, we will.
I had to hold my one daughter back because she wanted to like pop on here and stuff like that. So she looks up to you. We were rooting for you in that first season, and we just keep on rooting for you. And then I saw you on Barbecue Brawl, and we were cheering for you and all those things. So
Got
you made
thrown
it.
under the bus on that one.
You did. We were mad. We were upset.
My
Like,
mom was really mad.
I can
She
imagine.
wouldn't even watch him on TV anymore. So.
Yeah, we were fired up here in the Zablocki household for sure. But that's how much you.
I think I felt it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I appreciate that. So we appreciate you so much, and thank you for this time. We'll be following you as you go on. I know you're busy in May too as well, but you'll hear from us. And next year we'll see. You might have the three of us in one of your cooking schools, so sessions. So we might just surprise you and come down. And but we appreciate you. And like we always say is, if you wouldn't mind doing it, we always end our stuff with, like always, smoke on. So if you wouldn't mind saying that would be even better.
All right, y'all. Smoke on.
Thank you.